So Bryce, tell us what that widget there in your hand, how would, if you were in an agitated state and I handed that to you, how might you use that and what would make you feel comfortable about it?
Mainly just the shape of it and how it moves and stuff. That's what would make it able to calm me down.
Yeah. And why would that be?
It just feels nice.
Yeah.
Do you like technical things that you have to try to figure out and put back together?
I don't really have to figure this out.
No pressure. No pressure.
No.
Thank you, Mom. Yeah, see? There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so here's another widget to play with. So let's say that you're in a really stressful situation. And let me borrow it back for a second, okay? And you're in a stressful situation, and I offer that to you. And how would you come toward me like that? I just go a little slow?
Yes.
Yeah. And then what would I do? What would I do?
Probably back off for a few minutes.
All right, I'm backing off.
However long it takes them to calm down.
Yeah. And how would I know when it's safe to come back in?
If they aren't like stressed or they don't look stressed anymore.
Okay. By the face, by the body?
Body movements and facial expressions.
Yeah. Okay. Show me one that's uptight and then show me how you might look if it were relaxed. That's an uptight one there?
Yeah, this is an uptight one.
Okay. And how might it look if it were safe to come back in?
Like just kind of loose and...
Okay. I don't know, shoulders, right? Seems like your shoulders and your face and your arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Would be important how little I talked. And space is a big thing, right?
It is.
How fast I talk.
Yes.
Especially if I have sirens and dogs and, well, I'm kidding, right? For whatever else, whatever extra noises I'm making, right?
Yeah.
The least amount of noise would be best?
Yes, most likely for most cases it would be best.
Yeah, great. I mean, you're like really, really distressed. And I want to tell me how to approach you so you feel comfortable.
Slowly and calmly.
High or low or no, without words?
Low, and you would probably just offer me it, like, and also say, here, do you want this?
Okay, let me see if I can do that well. Okay, let's go back. Would you like that? Yeah. And then you would play with it. You'd feel, and I would be able to tell by your body language.
Yeah.
Your shoulders, your face, your hands. Yeah. Might you actually then maybe look back at me? How about this eye contact thing? How does that work?
They most likely will do eye contact if they are stressed. And if they're not, they probably, majority won't do eye contact.
Okay. And is that a clue I would use?
Yeah, it would be a clue.
Okay. Now you're playing with it in another way. You're manipulating it in a new way. Do I take a clue from that you're more approachable?
Well, it's just really the way that they think it calms them the most, or it helps them the most, that they can play with it. Like, they can squeeze it, they can try and put their finger in it and stretch it, or they can do however they like with it.
Now, is this a case where I probably should have backed off again, right? Come back away from you after I give it to you?
Yeah.
Give you some time and space, and yeah, okay.
How would your mother feel?
Yes.
Well, like if you were in the car with me?
Yeah. You should probably be the one in trouble.
Well, I would still try and keep my space mainly for anyone who you think has a diagnosis, because keeping your space helps them calm down, and then also maybe, like I said, talk them out. Don't just rush in and be like, you need to get out of the car. And also try and focus minimal distractions, like outside stuff, down to none. So it's just you and that person and nothing else.
Awesome.
So what else do you think would help in a situation where it's making you very tense, where you're uncomfortable, where you're feeling like maybe you're just out of control?
Well, mainly I believe that space and just something for them to fidget with is going to calm them down the most. Because especially if you have both, the fidget will calm them down, but also you're backed off and not directly up in their face, and it's not really a stressful mood anymore. It's kind of just, okay, this is fine.
Okay. And so when you get upset about something, what do you do? Do you start getting very tense and stuff, or you just kind of shut down and ignore the world around you?
I wear the Bose headset.
And he can't hear you anymore.
So you find it distracting when other things are going on, too many noises around you when you're trying to have a conversation with somebody?
Well, yes, I find it distracting.
Okay, and so if you were in a situation where you were uncomfortable and you were elevated in your mood, would it help to have a pair of headset to put on to distract the noise?
Are we continuing with if you're in a conversation? Because those won't work if you're in a conversation.
No, not if you're not in a conversation. But so say you're in a situation and there's a first responder coming up to you, and you are in a situation that's making you extremely uncomfortable. You're very tense, and there's lots of things going on. There's all these lights and noises and sirens going on. If the police officer or the first responder came over and handed you a headset to put on and said, would this help? And you put those on, do you think that would benefit you?
Yes, it would benefit. And the main problem I see with it, which isn't too big of a problem in my perspective, is might be hard to get their attention back if it's sound canceled.
Oh, good point.
Good point. Yeah. So if you put those on right now, go ahead and put them on.
I can't hear you.
You truly can't hear what I'm saying.
If I turn them on now.
Okay, but if they're not on, if they're just there to protect your ears from the loud noises, but you don't have music playing or something, they're just muffling. You can still hear me?
I can still hear you right now.
Okay. We just kind of turtle up into a shell and not...
Well, I don't turtle up, just I kind of just walk around with my headset on, listening to music.
So I guess depending on the situation, if there was a first responder situation where they did not need you to take action or follow instructions, they just needed to calm you down and just sit down. Then
Calm down, yeah.
Then the headphones would work. If they needed some action for you to take, to follow instructions, then we would pick a different tool, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
About something and you start jumping. Remember when Daddy says it sounds like there's a herd of cattle up here?
Yeah.
Because you're excited, you're doing something, you're excited, and you're jumping and you're jumping and you're jumping, and police officers don't realize why you're jumping. They don't have any idea. How would they be able to determine what's going on and be able to help to calm you down, to keep you from bouncing like Tigger?
Well, mainly just if they know you're autistic, or just generally a way of excitement is jumping, and also for people with autism, flailing their hands kind of like this.
Or flapping, what they call flapping.
Yeah, flapping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if someone approached a person of neurodiversity and they were just flapping but not causing trouble, then that's actually they're trying to be as calm as they can.
Yeah.
They're trying to calm themselves. And that's a big thing, a big paradigm mind shift for people, is because they kind of expect everybody to just freeze, right? Miranda's right, show me your hands, freeze up. And so that whole flapping thing make them feel nervous, because if the hands are hidden, they might not be able to see that there's nothing in it, right? So
Yeah.
if we could, so what would you say to the first responders that if they see someone that's flapping like you were demonstrating, to help them realize it's okay, that we're not, that you're as peaceful as you can be?
Well, as long as they're not like holding anything dangerous, or like just as long as they're holding like a fidget or something, like, or just nothing, because you can see the hands. So as long as you can see those hands, in my mind, it's fine. As long as you can see the hands. If like they put their hands in their pocket to grab something, that's when it's like, okay, this is a little bit more stressful. But as long as they're just flapping like this, I think it's fine.
So how would we explain that to them, though, so that they understand that it's fine? What is it that does for you?
It's excitement, and also just a way of calming people down, just like jumping is. It's also a way of calming people down.
And not to be afraid of it.
Right.
Yeah, awesome. Now here's a tough one, Bryce. What if I was approaching you as a first responder and you were in a state of distress, or I thought you were in a state of distress, or I needed to move you out of a burning building, or I needed to get you out of a car that you wouldn't want to get out of, but I had no tools to use. What would I be able to say or do?
Well, mainly I would just, yet again, try and keep space from them.
Okay.
And also, while keeping space, try and maybe conversate with them and explain that it's okay, nothing bad is going to happen. It will be all fine.
Would it help if I sang? I hear music is supposed to be very powerful. Is that silly? You would not expect?
I wouldn't expect
Yes,
it
I don't
personally.
I don't
but-
think first responders are going to expect it. We're
Yeah.
going to be prepared to sing. But just curious if that was. Is there anything I should not do?
Don't be up in their face the whole time. Try and reduce it to a minimal, and don't be like, get out of the car, I need you now. Just try and slowly talk them out of the car and not create stress.
Okay, now we got a tricky question for you. What if you were a different age, or you were a different gender? If you were a different person than who you are right now, would you have a different answer for us?
Well, when I was younger, I used to flap all the time, and now I barely jump for a meaning of excitement, and I no longer flap. So maybe if you're approaching someone older, they won't flap or something, because I no longer do it. I kind of grew out of it. And the different gender part, I don't really know.
That's a fair answer.
What if you were put in your mind right now that you're Maddie, your cousin Maddie. She's older. She's a girl.
I don't understand
How-
that still. I understand the
You can't
older, but
perceive-
not the understand.
I can't perceive that.